I was in my home in the Upper East Side last night when my phone starts buzzing. Reports of a shooter in Midtown New York, just a couple of blocks away from my house. Turns out that a deranged killer drove from all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast and killed and murdered in cold blood 4 people, including Mrs. Wesley LePatner, a mother, a mom, a philanthropist. In fact, she actually gave a beautiful donation to our organization just recently. And how do we make sense of this? What do we do? This is New York City. This is not some third world country. How does this happen? And it's also the 9 days. As always, we find comfort and answers in the Torah. You see, we're living in dark, dark times. And a little bit of light is worth infinitely more than all the darkness there is. If there can be so much darkness in the world, then with a little spark, we can ignite so much light, so much hope. If a deranged murderer can murder people and bring so much darkness into the world, then what we need to do is shed light, spread light into the world. How do we do that? Put on tefillin, light Shabbat candles, give charity, help a wounded soldier, keep Shabbat. Do something in the realm of goodness and kindness, and you will inspire in the world. You will light up the world. You will take away all this darkness in the world. And that's actually also the message of the 9 days. You see, the Talmud tells a story at the end of Tractate Makot that there were once a couple of rabbis walking together. Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Rabbi Yeshua, and Rabbi Akiva were going on the way. And they go and they reach the temple in Jerusalem, and they see a fox walking out of the Holy of Holies, the place that the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, would enter once a year. The holiest man, the Kohen Gadol, on the holiest day of the year would perform the holiest service, offering the incense. So the rabbis all started to cry, and Rabbi Akiva started to laugh. So the rabbis asked him, "Why are you laughing?" So he asked them, "Why are you crying?" So they said to him, "A place that is so holy that it says somebody who's not a Kohen Gadol would enter there, would die. And now we see a fox going out. We don't cry." So he said to them that this is the reason why I'm laughing. Because if the prophecy of Uriah has been fulfilled, where he says that Zion, Zion, will be plowed like a field, if that is fulfilled, then I'm confident the prophecy of Zechariah will be fulfilled, where he says, Od Yeshvu, in the future will sit, Zkenim u'zkenot, old men and old women will rejoice in Jerusalem. So I know, I'm confident that things will turn around, and it will be happiness and laughter once again. You see, Tisha B'Av, on the one hand, resembles darkness. It resembles the day that both temples were destroyed. It resembles the day that we went into exile and we've been here for 2,000 years. But the inner meaning of Tisha B'Av, it's our greatest connection to God. You see, when it's dark in the world, when there's senseless tragedy happening, the Talmud says that when the Romans destroyed the temple, the kruvim, which were the holiest items in the temple, the male and female-like figure, were hugging one another. You see, when the Jews did good deeds, the kruvim, the golden images, would face one another, and when they'd sinned, they would face apart from one another. But when the temple was destroyed for our sins, these kruvim were hugging one another, signifying that in the times of darkness, it is the greatest time to connect with God. It is when God is embracing us. It is when He's with us completely. And this is what Rabbi Akiva was saying. Because you are crying, that is why I'm confident that it will be good. You see, because you are crying, that means you haven't given up on Jerusalem. You haven't given up on God. You haven't given up on the divine presence. That means you know that this is not how the world should be. The world should be with God's presence, the temple rebuilt over here. And the fact that you are crying is the greatest proof that I know it will be rebuilt. Because God is our Father and He loves us so much. And I know that He will listen to our prayers. Because you are crying, because you haven't given up, that's why I'm happy and I'm thrilled, and I know that Mashiach will come. Napoleon found himself on Tisha B'Av in Jerusalem, and he sees Jews crying on the floor, lamenting. And he asks somebody, what's going on over here? Why are the Jews crying? And they tell him, the Jews are mourning for the destruction of the temple. And he said to the advisors around him, if there can be Jews who are crying so many hundreds of years after their temple has been destroyed, they will for sure merit its rebuilding. And this is what it means. Because we cry so much for the last 2,000 years, because we cry and we mourn and we know we are in exile, we know we're not at the home of our Father, our King, we know we're not at His table. This is why God will actually send and rebuild the temple, because He sees we still care. It's like a child who's knocking on his father's door, knocking and begging and begging and begging. You cannot say no to your child when he does this, when she does this. Same thing with God. And so when we witness so much darkness, senseless tragedy in Manhattan, New York, so much pain, we know that these are the final moments of the exile. And we know that we will witness the coming of Mashiach right now. If you look at the night, when is the darkest time of the night? Right before dawn. So may the holy souls of these individuals who were murdered have an aliyah. May they be a melitz yosher. May they be advisors for us in heaven to bring Mashiach and to end this senseless tragedy. And when so much darkness is in the world, it is incumbent upon us to shine more light and more light and more light. Learn a Mishnah in their memory, give charity in their memory, and let's all pray that Mashiach will come right now.